Hi, this is Mr. Smith, and in this video I'm going to go over the syllabus for contemporary math, also known as Math 1332. So you'll notice here at the start, it talks about contacting your instructor, and we're supposed to get back to you within 24 hours, and I'm normally much better than that. Contact information, you can see my name here is Scott Smith. You can call me Mr. Smith, you can call me Scott, or you can call me by my nickname, which is 1T, and that's because there's only 1T in my first name. My email is there, and that's probably the best way to reach me, but you also have a phone number. It's my Google Voice number. If you need to have a discussion, you can call me there, or if you feel more comfortable texting, you can do that. And as far as office location, this is actually a video for 3 classes. I'm teaching 3 Math 1332 classes this semester, and 2 of them are on the internet. And so if you're one of those, we'll have online office hours. But for my face-to-face classes, or for the one face-to-face class, my office is J127 at Brookhaven. And you're welcome to come if you're in an internet class, but you just want to make sure you're coming during my office hours. And I'll make those available later. I don't have those ready right now. If you need to get a hold of the division office for some reason, here's their information. All right. Let's look at course information. We talked about the course name. There's actually 3 sections. So these first 2 are the internet courses, and this last one is face-to-face. And that's the one that meets Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 to 3:20 in room T320. For the other 2 courses, we're on the internet. Certification date, that just is basically when I indicate to the school which students are attending. So it's important that you are certified. I'll talk a little bit more about that in another slide coming up. The last day to withdraw, if for some reason you have to withdraw during the semester, is November 11th. And when you do that, you get a W on your permanent record. And so you want to be careful about doing a lot of withdrawing. And the thing I want to point out is I cannot withdraw you from this course. It's your responsibility. I would encourage you to talk to me if you're thinking about withdrawing, or I'd encourage you to let me know. It's always nice to know what's going on and not just have students just suddenly disappear. But also, you may need to talk to your Veterans Affairs if you're a veteran, or if you're getting financial aid, there may be people you need to talk to, because otherwise, sometimes students will just stop coming. They come back a couple semesters later, and they realize they're on probation. So if you drop, make sure you do it the right way, and you can avoid that kind of stuff. Course prerequisites. Well, basically, you just have to be college ready in mathematics at the non-algebra level. So this is a course that's not on the algebra track. I know some of you are quite pleased about that. All right, next slide, course description. If you're interested in that, it tells you about the topics we're going to be looking at. Student learning outcomes. These are the things that we'll expect you to do. Let's move on to the core objectives. These, I believe, are standard throughout all the courses. These are the kinds of things that we want you to get out of a college education. These are all good things as you move on into the so-called real world. So if you haven't read those, you should at least read them once. Required course materials. All right, so you may or may not have heard of the Include Ed program. It's basically where you're getting your book along with, well, when you pay for tuition, it also covers your textbook. And it may cover other things as well. In this course, you're getting my math lab and basically an e-copy of the textbook. So you can see the textbook online. And so that's what you're getting as part of your tuition. So My Math Lab or My Lab Math is an interactive software where you're going to complete assignments, basically on a computer. So you need a computer, a computer and internet access. So basically you're going to be doing a lot of homework on computers, so you've got to have access to the internet. And let's see, other than that, I think I just want to mention the first time you register, all you have to do is go into eCampus, into our course. You'll see a My Lab Math link. And once you go in there, you can click on any of the links in there and it'll get you registered. I don't know exactly what that looks like because I don't do it, but I've been told it's quite simple. All right, so calculator. This is not included with IncludeEd, and this is the calculator that I'll be using in class and that I highly recommend that you get. It's about a $20 calculator, and I understand why you don't want to spend the money if you already have a nice scientific calculator. Now, if you're really good with it, and I mean, you got to be real honest with yourself here, you're going to be doing complex fractions, that's fractions within fractions, when you use math formulas for the second test. Unfortunately, sometimes students will fail the second test before they become convinced that they need this calculator. So, I just would encourage you to be really careful if you're using a different calculator. This one really makes a difference. All right, let's move on to the next page. So for graded work, you can see it's 15% for homework, 10% for quizzes, 60% for the tests, and 15% for the final. The final grades are determined using the normal percentages. 90 to 100% is an A, and so on. Description of graded work. I would encourage you to stop the video here and read through this page. It says, I'm going to go ahead and focus on the homework here. Homework will be assigned in My Lab Math to practice the material learned in each section of the textbook. A great feature of My Lab Math is that you'll get immediate feedback for each problem. It's going to tell you if it's right or wrong. If you get a wrong answer, normally you're going to have access to a detailed solution, whether it's video or you can click on Help Me Solve This, or you can see an example. But all to say, this is what makes My Lab Math quite handy, is you're getting that instant feedback and it's showing you how to do the problems. On the other hand, you got to be careful. Sometimes students get a false sense of security when they're clicking on those help buttons all the time and they get through an assignment, they think they've learned it. And you got to be really careful. I would encourage you to do all your work on paper, and just as you're doing the problems, ask yourself, do I understand what I'm doing here? Could I do this problem if I didn't have the help buttons here? And the other thing about writing your work out is when you take the quizzes or when you're preparing for the test, you'll have access to your notes and you can go back and work on the problems where you have some, had some difficulty. The other thing that's nice, with the quizzes, normally the first time you should try to take the test without going over or see if you can do it without your notes. But if that doesn't go so well, you can use it the second time around. But the basic thing is if you're not able to do the quizzes without notes, then that's an indication that you're not ready for the test yet. So if you take those quizzes without using any notes and you're doing well, that's a good sign that you're ready for the test. All right, so you have 4 tests, 100 points each, and that's 60% of your grade. So they're basically 15% each. It's so important that you can show me that you're learning the material, and that's what you do on the test. And also on the final, which is 15% of your grade as well. And for those of you that are in the online courses, your test deadline or final deadline will be December 8th. If you're in the face-to-face course, I'm still waiting on the final schedule. I'll let you know when I get the date. All right, so let's look at the late work policy. I just can't stress enough how important it is that you're doing the homework and quizzes on time. If you're doing them late, they're half off. And notice once the test deadline has passed, you cannot go back and do assignments for that test. Or if you're in the face-to-face course, once you've taken the test, you can't go back and do homework assignments and quizzes for that first test. So it's really important that you're staying on top of the due dates, getting things done on time, and also that you're getting all that credit, because getting half credit, that's 50% or less. So really important to stay on top of the assignments. And if you're doing that, you have a pretty good chance of doing very well in the course. Make sure that you're taking the test in class when I give it, or if there's a deadline that you're completing the test by the deadline. If for some reason you missed that test, you should be contacting me right away. Just being behind is not a good excuse, so make sure that you get the test done, or you should have a pretty good excuse. I'm a reasonable person, but if you're being a flake, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. You got to make sure that you're taking care of business. All right, communicating with your instructor. So this is really important, especially if you're in one of the 2 online courses. Each week I'll be making announcements to remind you what's due for that week. If you're not getting those emails, then that would indicate that there's something wrong with your email address in eConnect. So make sure that you get that corrected if you're not getting the emails, the announcements. Again, I would remind you that the course schedule is in the syllabus, and you'll also see the due dates in my math lab. And so make sure you're staying on top of those dates. And we already talked about contacting me. Notice I would like you to tell me which course you're in. So for the other 2 sections, your last 5 digits here will be different. That way I know which course you're in. And I just would encourage you again, make sure that if you're struggling or you're having any problems, contact me. I'm here to help you in any way that I can, or to answer whatever questions you have, or if you're having problems with anything, don't hesitate to contact me. And that's the same with all your instructors. We can't help you to get off to a great start if you're not letting us know what problems you're running into. Attendance and participation. So if you're in an internet course, you're going to need to turn in the homework for sections 1.1 through 1.3 and quiz 1 by Sunday, August 29th. Now, one of my internet courses is a co-requisite course, which means there's actually 2 courses, and so you're going to have a little bit more that you'll see on your syllabus. And also for the in-class Math 1332, basically by coming to class, signing into my math lab, and completing assignments, that's how you're going to indicate that you're participating. All right, and I just want to mention, if you're not certified, that can cause problems with your financial aid, so make sure that you're taking care of business there. Institutional policies, if you haven't seen those before, you should read those. Talks about things like tutoring, disability services, and so on, and everybody should be familiar with those. Finally, we've had a lot of things come up the last couple of years. I always reserve the right to make adjustments as I deem necessary, depending on the circumstances for our course. And if there are any changes, I will announce those in class, in my face-to-face class, and also I will make an announcement in eCampus, particularly for my online courses. All right, let's look at the schedule. So you can see now this is a schedule for that first course that starts with an 8. It's like 81 something. This is your schedule. For the other online course, you're going to have a little bit more here. And then you can see the due dates over here. For the face-to-face course, yours will look just a little bit different, but all of them are going to look very similar to this. So you can see it's very detailed about what's due each week. And I think that's all I really need to say here. And then finally, I have a little calendar of the testing deadlines, or these are deadlines for online courses. For the face-to-face course, you can see your in-class test days. All right, and so that's all I have to say. If you have any questions about the syllabus, make sure you read your syllabus. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help or answer any questions that you might have.